long time ago in a podcast setting far, far away.
The month of May has arrived. Movies are everywhere in sight for Codoman to talk about, striking with interest. With previous episodes in session, both Codoman and his brother Mike Codo have discussed different movies as the two talk about the movies they have seen. However, with other business to attend to, Mike has a procedure, so Codoman decides to go on his own to talk about a Star Wars movie for May the 4th. Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman. Well, for this episode, Codoman is going solo on this one, and if you probably heard from my opening crawl, my brother Mike is taking a back seat on this one because he is because prior to the recording of this episode, to which I'm recording on Saturday, May 2nd, my brother Mike is prepping for his colonoscopy procedure. So for this episode, you get to hear me going solo. May the 4th is here, so I thought it would be a good idea to talk about another Star Wars movie. It's that time because May the Force be with you. You know, that's basically Star Wars, technically Star Wars Day, if you want to say it. May the 4th, May the Force be with you, right? so anyway, the Star Wars movie that I'm going to talk about, well, this one I'm actually for this one, I'm going to talk about Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Now, this movie, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I haven't heard much about this movie. You know, this movie seems to fly under the radar when it comes to talking about Star Wars movies. People are going to be talking about the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and then of course the sequel trilogy as well. Plus, we also have Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which actually this year is celebrating. This year it will be celebrating its 10th anniversary, and then of course you also have Solo, a Star Wars story, and then of course around Memorial Day this year there is going to be a new Star Wars movie called The Mandalorian Grogu, to which I hope that movie is good. I'm hearing some things about Mandalorian Grogu, but I hope that movie's okay. It seems to be okay. It looks okay, but I'm not really sure if that movie's going to be any good. I hope it's good. But going back to Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Star Wars: The Clone Wars is one of those. I guess it's the Star Wars. It's one of those Star Wars movies where it gets pushed under the radar for some reason. And of course, to anybody's knowledge, yes, this movie is basically is basically the one that started it all for the Star Wars: The Clone Wars TV show, or just from my perspective, a backdoor pilot to the Star Wars: The Clone Wars um, animated TV show from Dave Filoni. Because before we got the 3D animated TV show Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which obviously enough the animation is basically 3D animation, we had a hand drawn 2D Star Wars Clone Wars mini show or mini series with Genndy Tartakovsky, which came out right before Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith. So 3 years after Revenge of the Sith came out, we get Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So technically, Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie, which came out in 2008, is basically a backdoor pilot to the actual TV show. Just from my perspective. So anyway, Star Wars: The Clone Wars is a 2008 American animated space opera film directed by Dave Filoni and produced by Lucasfilm Animation. The voice cast includes Matt Lanter, Ashley Eckstein, James Arnold Taylor, D. Bradley Baker, Tom Kane, Catherine Tabor, Nika Futterman, Ian Abercrombie, Corey Burton, Matthew Wood, Kevin Michael Richardson, David Accord, Samuel L. Jackson, Anthony Daniels, and Christopher Lee. It is the first animated Star Wars film in the franchise and takes place shortly after Attack of the Clones. And of course, this also marks the start, and of course, at the start of the Clone Wars. In the film, Count Dooku and Jabba the Hutt's uncle Zero orchestrate a plan to turn Jabba against the Galactic Republic by framing the Jedi for the kidnapping of his son, while Anakin Skywalker and his newly assigned apprentice or Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, attempt to deliver the child back to his father Jabba. And of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Padme Amidala lead separate investigations to uncover Dooku and Zero's plot. Now, that's basically the plot of this movie. As I mentioned, it is directed by Dave Filoni, with Henry Gilroy, Stephen Melching, and Scott Murphy serving as the writers for this movie, and of course, based on Star Wars by George Lucas, produced by Catherine Winder, and was edited by Jason W.A. Tucker, with music by Kevin Kiner, and it was distributed by Lucasfilm and Warner Brothers Pictures. So basically, Star Wars The Clone Wars is the only Star Wars movie being distributed by Warner Brothers. Although, of course, now it's basically under the Disney. Now, of course, this movie is basically picked up by Disney. So technically, it is a Disney film. That's pretty much all the Star Wars movies now, since Disney bought Star Wars and, of course, 20th Century Fox. So anyway, this movie came to theaters in at the Grauman's Egyptian Theater on August 10th of 2008, and it was released in the United States on August 15th of 2008 with a runtime of 98 minutes, and the film had a budget of $8.5 million, and it grossed over $68.5 million, which is basically a financial success. Now, the film received generally negative reviews from critics. And of course, the film serves as a pilot, or backdoor pilot. I call it a backdoor pilot, but technically it is kind of a pilot. I always thought the first episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars as a actual pilot, but technically this movie is basically a pilot, but I like to call it a backdoor pilot in my opinion. But still. So the film serves as a pilot to the 2008 TV show, which premiered 2 months after the film's release. It is the final film in the franchise to have significant involvement of George Lucas, who sold Lucasfilm to the Walt Disney Company 4 years later. So yeah, this movie didn't do well with critics when it first came out. It was still a success, but it didn't really do well with critics. To be honest though, if the 2008 Star Wars The Clone Wars TV show didn't come out after this movie, I could probably understand why people didn't like this movie. But now we have the show, and the show has already ended, by the way. The final season of Star Wars The Clone Wars came out in 2020, and it was basically season 7. So the show ended in 2020, even though we have spin-offs of that show. But the Clone Wars TV show as a whole ended in 2020. But I feel like without this movie, we would not have gotten this show. Come to think of it, because if you really think about it, the show overall has improved. Come to think of it, it got each season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Each season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars got better over time, thanks to this movie. Yes, the movie alone is not great according to critics, but to me, when I saw this movie, I thought it was okay. It wasn't great in my opinion, but I think this movie did pretty good overall, just in my opinion. Now, I can understand where some people are coming from. It felt like Star Wars, the Clone Wars movie received poor reviews primarily because it felt like several mediocre TV episodes stitched together rather than a cohesive film featuring stiff animation, a simplistic plot, and the introduction of Ahsoka Tano as a initially annoying character. Critics and fans felt the story was too childish and poorly paced, lacking the cinematic polish expected of a theatrical Star Wars release. Now, to be honest though, I think the best way to describe this movie is basically a Saturday morning cartoon movie. You know, I think that's the best way to put it. I think that's the most polite way to put it because this movie did feel like a Saturday morning cartoon, but I feel like this movie did its job, And this was their first attempt, of an animated Star Wars movie. So right? Like it was their first attempt. And even the animation, even people pointing out how the animation looks unfinished. The CGI was considered rigid with stiff character movements, flat lightning, and low quality textures compared to later seasons, which is absolutely true. Like the animation for Star Wars The Clone Wars improved each season. Like season one, for example, didn't have the best animation, but it improved later in season two. Same as season 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So take that as you will. But in my opinion, looking back at this animation, the animation, looking at it now, it's not bad. It's not bad animation. It's not bad animation, but I think the animation, if you go ahead of time to see how well the animation has improved, you, it's pretty good. And I think this animation for the time now looking at it, is not terrible. It's not bad. The series alone from Dave Filoni was just trying to find its footing. And I think that's the best way to put it. The show, the series, the show when it first started was finding its footing. Also to note too, this movie is, to be honest though, I do agree they did combine several episodes into one movie, and that's pretty true because the movie is comprised of 4 episodes that were originally produced for the first season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Had they been shown as separate episodes, they would have the following titles, which will be called The New Padawan, Castle of Deception, Castle of Doom, and of course Castle of Salvation. You know, that's those are the episode titles if these weren't not combined into one movie. But I think this movie did its job. The whole Castle of Deception, Doom, and Salvation, that sounds like a 3-part episode combined into one movie. While the new Padawan, I feel like the new Padawan is just basically the first act. I didn't really mind this movie at all. Like I was watching it, I actually watched this movie twice. The first time was when I was in college, and funny enough, I was actually hanging out at Domino's Pizza at my college of Eastern Illinois University. Just waiting for my pizza order, and I was watching part of Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie on Disney Plus, and to me, I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. I mean, not as great as many Star Wars movies, but this one was a fine movie. And then I watched it. I watched it again the second time, or maybe it was a third time. I don't know. Like I remember watching it again. This time just recently yesterday in preparation for this episode, and I was like, okay, all right. I was like, okay, this movie's fun. Okay, this movie wasn't bad, but at least I remember it because I remember this movie, but also the fact that I watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Like currently, I'm actually on season 5 of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, but I have seen season 7 though. I watched season 7 though, so technically I haven't finished the series, but I am still watching the show. I mean, I need to go back and watch the rest of the episodes, but I enjoyed Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I mean, I thought it's a great Star Wars show to watch. I mean, sure, you got Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. I mean, and then you got the you got Tales of the Jedi as well. I mean, those are I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then of course you also have shows like The Acolyte, for example, to which I'm gonna be honest, I did not like Acolyte at all. Star Wars: The Acolyte, that show was pure garbage. Like, I did not like The Acolyte at all. But of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I thought that show was okay. The Ahsoka Tano show, I thought was fine. Book of Boba Fett, though, that one is that one's a mixed bag. That one's a mixed bag, though. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we got Mandalorian Grogu coming out pretty soon. And then you got the Star Wars Starfighter movie coming out too. Not until next year, though. And that one is actually directed by Sean Levy. So we'll see what's going to happen. I mean, Star Wars has been pretty hit or miss these days, so to say. But who knows? We'll see what will happen down the line. But anyway, with that being said, I thought we'd talk about this movie. Like, let's break down this movie, shall we? So anyway, the movie opens up with a narration from Tom King explaining the state of the Clone Wars instead of an opening crawl like its predecessors. So we do get a crawl, but it's basically through voiceover monologue from Tom Kane. And he's explained the separatists control the majority of the hyperlanes, leaving Republic forces stranded in different parts of the Outer Rim. Jabba the Hutt's son, Rada, is kidnapped as part of a plan to make the Hutts join the separatists. Meanwhile, a fierce battle is taking place on a crystalline planet of Christophsis between the Republic's very limited clone army and the Retail clan forces. With the help of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, now they're both being voiced by James Arnold Taylor and Matt Lanter, replacing Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. So these are the voice actors who are playing Obi-Wan and Anakin, and and the two are teaming up with the clones who are steadily advanced on separatist forces, gaining the Republic an early victory. However, it doesn't last long, though, as the droid army soon returns. With no communications or the ability to fly in reinforcements, the fate of the few remaining clone soldiers are in the hands of Obi-Wan and Anakin. A shuttle arrives, but without the needed reinforcements. Instead, it is a young Padawan named Ahsoka Tano, being voiced by Ashley Eckstein, who insists that she has been sent by Master Yoda, voiced by Tom Kane and not by Frank Oz, to serve under Anakin. The battle soon commences yet again, with the Separatist forces advancing behind an expanding shield that artillery can't penetrate. Anakin and Ahsoka succeed in penetrating the enemy lines, while Obi-Wan stalls for time by holding a fake surrender negotiation with the army commander. And this droid army commander, although this basically he's one of the members of the separatist force. Um, his name is Worm Lulfson, and he's the commander of the separatist droid army occupying Christophsis, and he's being voiced by Corey Burton. To which Corey Burton, he also voiced Zero the Hutt in this movie. And also to note too, Corey Burton will also voice Count Dooku in the TV show, because and apparently he was originally going to voice Count Dooku in this movie, but Christopher Lee, who played Count Dooku in Star Wars: Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, joined the voice cast, and Christopher Lee dubbed in the dialogue to the already finished animation. So I don't know the reason why they brought Christopher Lee back to voice Count Dooku, but I'll just say this: Chris Christopher Lee plays a very good Count Dooku. Like he has that voice. He has that voice for that role. Whether it's live action or animation, Christopher Lee will always be Count Dooku. Christopher Lee will always be Count Dooku, in my opinion. I mean, Corey Burton, he does a very good job voicing Count Dooku, but Christopher Lee, in my opinion, he he nails the voice very well. So anyway, just to move forward, so yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi literally like he and Lofton, he basically, discuss the basically negotiate the surrender terms. Like Obi-Wan's just like he just casually goes over to the droid army and to that general just to discuss the negotiations for surrender. And the way how Obi-Wan handles this, he handles this in the most sassiest way possible. Like I'm telling you right now, Obi-Wan Kenobi, not in this movie and also the show, he he is so sassy. He is so sassy. Like, he's like, if it isn't if it isn't General Wilson, I'm here to discuss the terms of surrender. And even the general was like, "Do not play tricks with me, Jedi." You can definitely tell Obi Wan is stalling while Anakin and Ahsoka are basically trying to like take down the shield, right? You can definitely tell. Even to the point where, while Obi Wan is talking to the general, he's like, "Perhaps we should discuss this over drinks, shall we?" And I'm not kidding. The general's like, hey you, bring us some liquid or something." Like this guy literally says liquid, and it's just like it seems like the writers were afraid of like saying saying either space beer or whatever the drinks are in the world of Star Wars. I'm not really sure. The only drink I can pick up from the world of Star Wars is blue milk. That's the only drink I can pick up from. I mean, I guess they do. I guess you could say they have water too, but even then, probably tea as well. I mean, I don't know. They didn't really say what drinks it was, but I'm pretty sure it was tea because in the next shot we see Obi-Wan Kenobi playing around, using his spoon to literally stir up his tea. Right, so it's technically tea. They didn't really say what the drink was. All they said was, "Oh, he didn't." The general didn't say what the drink was. All the general said it was basically, liquid. Right? Can't get that much cartoony than this. I guess I don't know. I guess Looney Tunes could get away with saying what kind of drinks they have, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, you can tell that Obi Wan is stalling him while Anakin and Ahsoka are basically taking down the shield. And right out of the gates, Anakin is so annoyed by Ahsoka, like Anakin, I don't think like Anakin really he never had like an apprentice before, and you can tell right away how annoyed he is about Ahsoka. Like Ahsoka in this movie, say what you will about Ahsoka, Ahsoka in this movie was very annoying, but I actually like Ahsoka because of the show. Let's be honest. Ahsoka Tano in the TV show, she was a great character. But when she was first introduced, yeah, she is annoying, but she gets better over time, to which I had to respect this movie for. So it's like, but you can definitely tell Ahsoka's got a bit of whiny Anakin vibes a little bit. She's got those little vibes, but even then Anakin was also whining too. It was like, why do I need to work with this Padawan? I mean, I don't even know who she is. I mean, of course Ahsoka explains like my name, like Ahsoka says her name, and she told Obi-Wan and Anakin like that she told Obi-Wan and Anakin that she was sent by Master Yoda for backup, right? I mean, hey, bring another Jedi on board, or Padawan, I should say. But anyway, but she gets the job done, which is pretty cool. And and in my opinion, she does have lines in this movie where I'm not gonna lie, but to which I'm not gonna lie. Some of the lines are pretty funny. Like she calls Anakin Sky Guy, and it's like she calls Anakin Sky Guy, and Anakin's like, "What did you call me? Don't get snippy with me, little one. You know I don't even think you're old enough to be a Padawan." And Ahsoka was like, "Well, maybe I'm not." Well, maybe I'm not. And Ahsoka Tano was like, "But Master Yoda thinks I am." And Anakin was like, "Well, you're not with Master Yoda right now. Burn." I don't know. Like Anakin and Ahsoka probably have some. They definitely go like I like as bad as this movie was when it first came out. You have to admit, Anakin and Ahsoka, they both have real good banter between. They both have good banter. Like their banter in not just the movie but also the show. Their banter is really good. But anyway, but I do like. But there's also another one where Ahsoka tells Anakin, "So what's the plan?" And Anakin was like, "Oh, I thought you were the one with the plan." Ahsoka's like, "No, I'm the one with enthusiasm. You're the one with experience, which I'm looking forward to learning from." Oh man, and this is and one more about, and this is just one more, but this time with Captain Rex. Captain Rex is being played by D. Bradley Baker, who voiced all the other clones as well. And Ahsoka tells Captain Rex, "So if you're a captain and I'm a Jedi, then technically I outrank you, right?" And Captain Rex says, "Well, in my book, experience outranks everything." Ah man, that's great. That's great. If this movie came out today, I think that if this movie came out today, this would be good. But of course, it came out in 2008, so different story. So anyway, we move forward. So anyway, let's move forward. Soon after the final victory for the Republic on Christophus, Master Yoda arrives and brings the Jedi up to date on the situation concerning Jabba's son. And Jabba the Hutt is being voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, by the way. So the Republic needs Jabba on their side to ensure unfettered travel through Jabba's trade routes. Anakin and Ahsoka are tasked with retrieving the child, while Obi-Wan flies to Tatooine to assure Jabba that Rada will be retrieved. And obviously enough, they had to rescue Jabba's son, right? I mean, that's the thing, yeah. So anyway, they move on to the planet Teth. Anakin and Ahsoka and their clones and their clones assault a monastery that sits atop a high stone pillar. They find Rata, but discover that he is sick, requiring them to get help immediately, but they have been caught in a trap by Count Dooku, who hopes to frame the Jedi for Rada's disappearance and possible death, thereby ending any chance of the Republic striking a deal with Jabba. Apparently throughout this movie, right after the Battle of Christophus, the rest of the movie focuses on the Jedi finding Jabba's son Rada, but apparently they're not alone because Count Dooku wants to find Rada himself just so he can get Jabba to join the Separatist force instead of the Republic. And this is also worth noting too, and I've already spoiled this already. So I know I said this already at the start of this episode, but Dooku and Zero team up to kidnap Rada, and Zero the Hutt is basically Jabba's uncle. You know, he's the uncle to Jabba, and his uncle literally stabbed his back. And we don't see Zero the Hutt until the end of the movie, but of course the film's plot but it's fine, but it's later learned that Zero was the one who came up with the plan to team up with Count Dooku. to get to kidnap Jabba's son, just so they could get Jabba on the Separatist side. So anyway, Count Dooku, voiced by Christopher Lee, he has sent his assassin Asajj Ventress, be voiced by Nika Futterman, to secure fake evidence on the Jedi's supposed double dealing, then to recapture the young Hutt and return it to Jabba, putting the crime lord in the Separatist debt. So so then Anakin and Ahsoka managed to escape the trap alongside with R2D2 and hijacked a ship transport which they used to travel to Tatooine. Alerted by Anakin, Obi-Wan arrives just in time to relieve the clone forces and engages Ventress in a lightsaber duel where he manages to defeat her, though Ventress flees in the face of capture. Now I'm gonna go off topic, because Asajj Ventress has has two different fights in this movie. Now, the one that we saw was when she goes up against Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's another one early on where she goes up against Anakin and Ahsoka when Anakin and Ahsoka were rescuing Rada, right? So, um, so basically there's supposed to be a fight, but that was a deleted fight, and Anakin and Ahsoka fight Asajj Ventress in this trap, and basically Anakin duels with what do he fights with Asajj Ventress, right? And I'm just gonna say this: I think the lightsaber fights in this movie are good. Like people say how stiff the animation is, but in hindsight, I don't understand what makes the animation stiff. Like, sure, the animation may look unfinished, but I don't know, I don't understand why this animation is so stiff. I mean, it feels like they move, right? They move, right? Like they're basically moving at a fast pace, right? I guess you could say some of the movements were stiff, but the opponents were at least moving around, you know, right? Just my opinion. But anyway, during that fight between Ventress, Anakin, and Ahsoka, it did later go into a bit of I want to say, a monster fight too, because apparently Ahsoka was trying to find a way out of the trap, but she wakes up what looks to be a rancor like monster, and this lightsaber fight turned into a rancor fight, where I'll say this: Anakin gets the upper hand and defeats Ventress by stabbing the rancor. I don't know if it was Ahsoka who did it, but Ahsoka and Anakin stabbed the rancor inside his face, and the Rancor felt pain in his face basically because it burns, right? Lightsabers burn, and the monster sits on top of Ventress, while R2D2 fights off against the droids. While there was also a droid fight going on. Yeah, battle droids were going on, and they were like, "Hey, it's the Jedi! Blast them! Yeah, let's shoot down these Jedi scum, right?" Too bad General Grievous is not here to get them. Oh, by the way, I should probably mention this too. General Grievous, he gets a non-speaking cameo in this movie he gets a non-speaking role at the start of the movie, and he's just basically a cameo alongside with Newt Gunray, and then I guess and a couple of other separatist leaders. So yeah, General Grievous is in this movie, but he's only in it for one scene in a non-speaking role. And also to note too, Matthew Wood, who's a sound editor for Star Wars because of all the sounds. He also voiced the battle droids and General Grievous, just to let you know. So yeah, going back to the first fight, first fight between Anakin and Ahsoka and Ventress, yeah, it ends with that Rancor like monster sitting on Ventress. So yeah, and Anakin and of course Anakin and Ahsoka escape just to go to Tatooine, right? There's also another quick lightsaber fight, but it didn't really last. But it didn't really last long. So I guess it was kind of Ventress's second fight. But I didn't really count that as a second one because I guess you could say that. I mean, yeah. So there was two different lightsaber fights, but this one was like a quick one. The other one was a deleted one where that should have been their first fight, right? So yeah, I guess you could say now her and Obi-Wan, I guess it's her third lightsaber fight. I guess you could say that, but anyway, just to move forward. So anyway, this next part, Anakin and Ahsoka are basically flying this ship. It's basically called a Twilight ship, by the way, and and of course, Anakin is just basically trying to fly it around, right? He's basically trying to fly this ship around, right? Trying to get it to work. It's basically a bucket of bolts, right? Oh man. But anyway, it's like the Millennium Falcon. It's basically a bucket of bolts, right? While that's going on, Ahsoka's trying to, find medicine for Rada because Rada is feeling sick. So she takes Rada to the back of the ship where she gets this message from this medical droid about Rada being sick. And of course, the doctor was like, here's some of the here's some of the space medicine, and if something ever happens, and if something ever happens, please call a real doctor. Like, dude, man. He just literally told Ahsoka, okay, yeah, here's the medicine, but please don't hesitate to call a real doctor for extra help. Like, I'm like, dude, man, come on. Don't do Rada and Ahsoka like that. Come on. But anyway, Ahsoka gives Rada the medicine, and at first Rada doesn't want to take it, and Ahsoka's like, "You're going to take it, and you'll like it. Here you go." And Rada burps. Ahsoka manages to cure Rada by the use of medical supplies on board. So in the meantime, Senator Padme Amidala learns of Anakin's mission and fears for his safety. She decides to contact Jabba's uncle Zero, who lives in a shady part of Coruscant. The Hutts refuses to cooperate, apparently believing that it is the Jedi who are responsible for the situation. However, Padme soon discovers that Zero has actually conspired with Dooku to engineer the downfall of his nephew in order to seize power over the Hutt clans. Padme, who is voiced by Catherine Tabor, like Catherine Tabor plays Padme Amidala in this movie. And here's something interesting: Natalie Portman was considered to reprise her role as Padme from the prequel trilogy before Tabor was selected. She replaces Grey Delisle, who voiced the character in the Clone Wars micro series. So Padme finds out that Zero was working with Dooku. And of course, she gets imprisoned, but was able to get a hold of C3PO, being played by Anthony Daniels, and of course, enables her to summon help, and Zero is arrested. Now, of course, before I go into Tatooine, I gotta talk about Obi-Wan's fight with Asajj Ventress. Like, now his fight with Ventress is a pretty good fight in my opinion. But I will say though, for Obi-Wan Kenobi, let's just say this Obi-Wan was just flirting with her. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, as I mentioned, Obi-Wan Kenobi in the show, he is so sassy. Like he's probably the sassiest Jedi in the entire show in my opinion. Like he's got some one-liners, but he also has his serious moments too. But of course, whenever he's fighting, he's pretty sassy. Many people consider Obi-Wan Kenobi a troll, like how he's trolling with a lot of people. He fights with Ventress. One of his lines in the fight was like, "You can't hide. I feared your frustration. Let me guess. You're after Jabba's son too." And Ventress goes after Obi-Wan Kenobi, and let's just say the fight's pretty good. And Obi-Wan was like, "You had to do better than that, my darling." Like I said, Obi-Wan's he's so sassy. It's just like he's flirting with her, right? He's basically flirting with her. Even Ventress, even Ventress was like, "I'm not even getting into your Jedi games, you scum." You know. Just to move forward, the fight. Obi Wan wins the fight, right? And even Obi Wan tells Ventress, "We know of Dooku's plots to turn the Hutts against us. It will not succeed." Ventress was like, "It will once the truth dies with you." Like that's probably the only serious moment between these two, because Obi-Wan knows that Dooku is behind all this, but Ventress is there to take him down. So anyway, the fight ends with Obi-Wan Kenobi taking out Ventress's only lightsaber. He takes out Ventress's double blade lightsaber, but he cuts it in half, much like similar to how he did it with Darth Maul, and he tosses the one lightsaber over the edge, just leaving her with the only one lightsaber. And Obi Wan's like, "The hut is secure. There's no reason to fight no more. We won. Lay down your weapon." That's more like a surrender quote, but Ventress is like, "Jedi scum. I'll see you later, sucker." You know? She escapes by flying on a vulture droid. And that's basically the end of their fight. Now, cut to Anakin and Ahsoka. They're still flying in this ship, although the ship is later called the Twilight. That's basically the name of the ship. So they're going to Tatooine. And of course they're being attacked by Count Dooku's Magna Guard fighters. To which the Magna Guard droids are basically the droids to General Grievous, but of course, in this movie, they're serving Count Dooku. So we get more banter from Ahsoka and Anakin, right? And it's basically, they're basically trying to land into Tatooine, right? And Anakin is trying to tell Ahsoka to to uh, get the shield going, or to get the shield going, and Ahsoka is like, the shield is damaged or something. I don't know. I think that was the line. But the line that I remember in that ship from Ahsoka was when Anakin was just basically you know taking control of the ship so hard that he woke Rada, and Ahsoka said this line, "Great, you woke the baby." Yeah, because Anakin Skywalker woke the baby up, baby Rada, right? So then they land into Tatooine, and they had to walk through, and basically Anakin and Ahsoka have to walk through Tatooine, and also Ahsoka tells this to Anakin. She tells him Master Yoda has a saying: "Old sins cast long shadows." Do you know what he means by that? And Anakin says, "He means your past can ruin your future if you allow it. But you forget it was Master Skywalker who said, 'I don't want to talk about my past.'" Because somewhere in the beginning of the movie, when Anakin first met Ahsoka, Anakin told Ahsoka to like not talk about the past, right? But also, we know down the line that Anakin would turn into the dark side, turning into Darth Vader, right? Because he basically fell into the dark side, right? So anyway, we move forward. So they travel the desert just to go to Jabba's palace. So, and they're basically faced with a long trek across desert sands and relentless opponents. So basically, Anakin and Ahsoka split up. So Anakin devises a ruse, a plan, as by going up against Count Dooku while carrying a decoy of Rada. leaving Ahsoka and R2D2 to take the real Rada to Jabba's palace. And of course, Anakin gets into a fight with Count Dooku at night. Now, the fight between Dooku and Anakin in this movie, I really enjoyed. This was a pretty good fight. Now, this is their final fight. This is the final lightsaber fight in this movie. And Dooku and of course Dooku rides on his speeder to catch up to Anakin, and once they meet, Dooku is ready. He's like, "Surrender the hut or it will die, Skywalker." Like he was going to electrocute Anakin with his lightning force, but Anakin was able to deflect that, and the two engaged in a fight. And of course, Dooku's got some pretty good lines in this fight, and he was like, "Your training has come a long way, boy." And of course, he also says this, "Oh, now I remember. This was your home planet. I definitely sense some memories from here." Because Anakin grew up on Tatooine, right? But even then, he still fights Dooku. I do like the part where Anakin uses the Force to throw sand with the Force to blind Dooku, but Dooku returns the favor by spinning his lightsaber and basically forcing it back to Anakin. Now we know why Anakin hates sand. Because it's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Yeah, I said it, right? One of the worst lines to come out of the Star Wars franchise, but even then, we get lines like, "Suddenly, Palpatine has returned," right? But you also got lines like, "The power of one, the power of two, the power of many." Ugh, that line from Acolyte. Eesh. Dooku slices Anakin's backpack, and Dooku's like, "You have failed, Jedi. I have just killed Jabba's son." But Anakin was like, "You fell for my trick, Dooku. You see here, these are just a bag. It's just a bag of rocks." Charlie Brown would beg to differ. "I got a rock." And Anakin was like, "Oh, oh yeah, you want to know where the baby is? Well, he's with my apprentice. And you know what? And let me tell you this: she's far more skillful. She's far more skillful than you think she is." "Well, you have deceived yourself." So the fight continues until Dooku gets a message from the Magna Guards that they're taking on Ahsoka. Dooku is like, "Look, I have a message from your Padawan." Anakin literally kicks Dooku in the face, dropping the device in the sand. And Dooku is like, "You might as well go catch up to her now. You never know how merciful Jabba the Hutt could be. After my droids kill Jabba's son and deliver your Padawan to Jabba for punishment." So Anakin leaves Dooku behind by stealing his speeder, and Dooku laughs maniacally, and that's basically the end of that fight. So Anakin goes to Jabba's palace thinking that Ahsoka is there, but Ahsoka is still fighting the three Magna Guards, whom she narrowly defeats, and Anakin goes over to Jabba, and Jabba is like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 look what we got here. We got some Jedi nuts here." Jabba is speaking in Huttese. You know, Jabba is speaking in Huttese, and Anakin is like, I'm not falling for your vile crap, Jabba. Where is Ahsoka?" And Jabba is like, "Me so don't know about other Jedi." Well, let's just say Anakin has had enough. He's about to kick some Huttese assa. Like Anakin is about ready to go. He's about ready to throw down on Jabba. Like he was literally about to kill him, until Ahsoka steps in with Rada, and Rada is Jabba and Rada are basically reunited. Father and son, and Rada is happy to see Jabba. Jabba's like, me, Rada, son. You come back home." you know but of course, things don't go. I mean, if you think things were about to go smoothly, think again. He Jabba is basically deceived by the lies of Count Dooku, and he was about to order to execute Anakin and Ahsoka. It's like, you may brought back me son, but me not gonna let you go. You two are Jedi voodoo. You damn well Jedi voodoo. You're about to fall into Rancor pit, about to be executed. Rancor pit. You know, like he's about to execute Anakin and Ahsoka. Like, yeah, Jabba doesn't even give a crap. He still believes what Dooku said, and I'm pretty sure Asajj Ventress. But even then, that gets interrupted. This does lead into a funny moment, another one-liner from Ahsoka, where Ahsoka gets in trouble, where you know how Anakin gets in trouble a lot. You know, like this is when like Anakin gets in trouble a lot. Yeah, trust me. You have no idea what Anakin has been through, Ahsoka. Like Ahsoka's like, does this always happen to you? She says that when they're about to be executed by Jabba, Anakin was like, everywhere I go. And I'm just like, trust me, Ahsoka, you have no idea what Anakin Skywalker has been through. So, but thankfully though, there is a message that came through from Padme Amidala, and of course, Padme convinces Jabba of his uncle's double crossing plan, and Jabba sees Zero, and Jabba is like, "Me uncle, what did you do? You're about to have me execute these Jedi. You were following this Count Dooku guy." And Zero, I'm telling you right now, Zero the Hutt is basically a coward at this point. Like, like Zero wants to take over the Hutt clan, but Jabba is like, "You shall not take over me clan." Like Zero gets imprisoned in this, like Zero the Hutt gets arrested for for the kidnapping of Jabba's son, and everything goes smooth, and everything goes smoothly. Like Jabba agrees to allow the Republic safe passage through the Outer Rim territories, but only if the Jedi promise to make Dooku pay for his crimes against the Hutts. And Anakin was like, "Don't worry, he will." But we do get a scene where Count Dooku has a conversation with Darth Sidious, and Darth Sidious is voiced by Ian Abercrombie, who, obviously enough, is also Chancellor Palpatine. Like, Palpatine is in this movie, but not for very long, and he was the one who sent Padme Amidala to go after to find Zero the Hutt. And also, he was also in the beginning of the movie with Mace Windu, voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, and Master Yoda, voiced by and about the Republic attacking Christophus, right? And and of course, the movie ends with Darth Sidious and Count Dooku talking to each other, and Sidious was like, don't worry about this whole mission. This is no win for now. We will get back at them soon enough." Movie ends with their mission accomplished. Anakin and Ahsoka are triumphantly retrieved by Obi-Wan and Yoda, and the movie ends right there. So, anyway, is this movie really that bad as many people are saying it is when it first came out? To be honest, though, I don't think so. Now, sure, yes, this movie has the feel of a Saturday morning cartoon, even if some of the lines are, even if some of the humor is hit or miss, or even Ahsoka can be annoying at times. But in hindsight, I enjoyed this movie. I mean, if you look at it now, after watching the Clone Wars TV show, it's a pretty good introduction. A rocky but good introduction. Like, the reviews, like, the reviews for this movie were pretty rough. It has an 18% Rotten Tomatoes score, and of course, it has a 35 out of 100 based on 30 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Even Cinema Score gave the film a B minus. And Even Entertainment Weekly listed Star Wars: The Clone Wars as one of the five worst films of 2008. Like, yeah, this movie didn't really do that well when it first came out, but now I'm looking at this movie, like, this movie is pretty good. This is a pretty good movie. It's not like you're going in for an Oscar worthy film. You're just going in for an entertaining movie, you know? You see, there are movies that are good, there are movies that are bad, and there are movies that are so bad it's good. This movie, on the other hand, this movie falls into the category of so bad it's good. Like, yeah, sure, this movie was bad, but it's actually a pretty good movie looking back at it now. It's still good. It's a bad movie with a lot of good moments. So technically, it's as bad as this movie was, it's still a pretty good movie. IMDb gave this movie a six out of 10, which is not terrible. I mean, there are people who are admitting that, yeah, this movie was rocky, but this movie is actually not that bad. I mean, many people are having mixed feelings about this movie. Someone said someone said that this was a damn good movie if you know what you're getting into. Like, yeah, like, even before the Clone Wars came out, it's like we didn't really like, before we got the Clone Wars TV show, we didn't really know what people didn't. I don't think people knew what they were getting into for this movie. But now, after the Clone Wars, now you do have a good idea, right? I mean, it's a unique, and someone said it was a unique styled new direction for a well established formula. Yeah. I mean, sure, you can have your opinion on this movie, but for me, I enjoyed this movie. I really had a lot of fun with this movie, you know? It's not the best Star Wars movie I've seen, but it's obviously a pretty decent Star Wars movie, even if it is a bad Star Wars movie, it's got its moments. Like, this movie has a lot of moments where you can actually get into. Like, it's got some funny good moments too, even if this movie is not perfect. Like I said, it can be a film. It's a film that is so bad it's good. But anyway, that's enough about me talking about that. But I do want to hear your thoughts on Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And before I close out the episode, um, I just want to say, I just want to give some good thoughts on this movie. Now, my overall good thoughts, like, I enjoyed the acting in this movie. The voice acting in this movie is pretty good. Sure, the actors are a lot different compared to what we heard in the prequel trilogy. Like, sure, sure, James Arnold Taylor, Matt Lanter will not top Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, but I thought those two did a real good job portraying the characters. And then and also James Arnold Taylor also voiced Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Genndy Tartakovsky Star Wars TV show. So he kind of knows. So he basically got the character down pretty good. And then and then of course, some of the other actors returned to this movie, like Samuel L. Jackson played Mace Windu in this movie. And then, of course, Christopher Lee played Count Dooku one last time in this movie until Corey Burton took over for the show. And then Anthony Daniels came back to reprise his role as C3PO. Like, anyway, that's pretty much it in terms of some of the returning actors from the prequel trilogy. And also, I got to give a shout out to D. Bradley Baker, though. Like, D. Bradley Baker played all the clones in this movie. Like, he voiced Captain Rex, but he played all the clones. Like, this guy's got some talent. Like, D. Bradley Baker he did a really good job voicing all the clones. Even Nika Futterman voicing Asajj Ventress, she did a pretty good job too. She's the only villain in this movie where she got the most lightsaber fights in this movie, in my opinion. She got two, but I guess you could say three because the one because she did get into a quick fight with Ahsoka, but it was a pretty quick one though. If they kept the deleted fight from if they kept the deleted fight in this movie, I think it would have been good. I don't understand why they cut the fight, Anakin and Ahsoka's fight with Asajj Ventress. I don't understand that, but I really don't understand. I don't understand that at all. I guess you could say it was probably for pacing issues, but I don't know. They should have kept that fight in. They should have kept that fight in, showcasing the fight between Anakin and Ahsoka, showcasing the fight of Anakin and Ahsoka against Ventress. Like we could have see how Ahsoka handles the lightsaber fight with Ventress, right? While also looking after Rada, or Stinky, as she likes to call him. Completely forgot that she calls Rada the Hutt Stinky. So anyway, moving forward. But yeah, anyway, moving forward, I do like the banter in this movie. The banter between Ahsoka and Anakin, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the banter in this movie. I do like Obi-Wan's sassiness in this movie between the general and of course and Ventress. Like I don't know what the writing team was doing with that, but James Arnold Taylor worked it out. Worked like he delivered it pretty well. And then let's see. There was also a couple of moments too from the droids that I liked. I thought it was funny, like the battle droids in this movie, and of course the series. They got some pretty good humor. Like the droids get some funny moments. Like like when they're on Teth, like the battle droids were looking for Anakin and Ahsoka and of course the other clones, and they were like, "Here, guys, look, we gotta make sure we gotta keep an eye on the Jedi. Wait a minute, where'd they go?" And then one of the battle droids fell all the way down to the bottom of the edge, and the droid was like, oh my god, like. Like he literally said that once he lands face first to the ground. I mean, battle droids, right? And then of course you got the droids doing their. I mean, the droids are pretty funny in the Clone Wars. They gotta add the humor in. Roger, 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 Roger. But I do enjoy the lightsaber fights in this movie, like the fights of Count Dooku and Asajj Ventress. Like they were pretty good. I enjoyed the fights. I enjoyed the lightsaber fights. I mean, it still has that the movement. They had the fast movement of the prequel trilogy. As for the story, I think the story is okay. Now, the whole because the story is combined from different episodes that were supposed to be, in the series, but combined into like a movie, right? Like this is basically like the whole castle trilogy the whole castle trilogy is basically combined into one movie, but of course you got the new Padawan, which in hindsight that almost sounds like that's basically the introduction to Ahsoka Tano, which would obviously fit into season 1, but of course they put it into the movie. I thought the story was fine, even if it's rocky. I enjoyed it. I still enjoy the story, but I feel like the story did its job. You know, trying to get to the point, right? Trying to get to the point of what's going to happen later down the line. And the animation, though, I say the animation's all right. For this movie, the animation in this movie is all right. But I love how the animation improved later down the line. Like, this animation's all right. The 3D animation for Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I enjoyed it. Like it's not perfect animation, but it's the animation where it was trying to find its but it's the type of animation where it was trying to find its footing, right? And I believe this movie did that. And so did the show. Now, the music in this movie, I like the music in this movie. Now, it's not the most, now the music in this movie, it's not the most memorable music, but if anything, I appreciate the opening to this music. Like it opens up with a different theme, and it's not John Williams's theme, but it's by Kevin Kiner, who actually was able to recreate some of the themes from John Williams, like Darth Vader's, like a little bit of Darth Vader's theme, a little bit, and then of course what is it, the twin sun setting that was actually played at the end of the movie, or Luke's theme, I should say. But I do like the opening where it goes dun 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 dun. Like I actually like that theme. That's a good theme. I remember that theme. The music for the action sequences are pretty good too. I do like how they use a little more. They use a little bit of electronic an electronic guitar for this. Like they added a bit of a electric guitar to some moments of the music, which I thought was pretty clever. You know, giving it a more electronic feel to it. But anyway, other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, other than that, that's just pretty much it. Now, like I said, without this movie, we would not have gotten this show. Now, if this show, if we only got this movie, then I can understand why people hated this movie. But since we got the actual show, and of course, after watching the show and looking back at this movie, I had to admit, I had a fun time with this movie. This was a fun movie to watch. Would I go back and watch it? I probably would. I mean, still pretty good. It's still a pretty good movie. I mean, it's still a fun movie. Like, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun. So in hindsight, with the flaws that this movie had, you could just expand your disbelief, go with the flow. But other than that, that's pretty much about it for this movie. So there you have it, folks. That is my take on the Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and may the fourth be with you. So to anybody who's listening, what did you guys think of the Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie? Did you like this movie? Did you not like this movie? Did you think this movie was okay? Do you think this movie aged well? I would love to hear your thoughts. And if I'm missing out on anything from this movie, let me know in the comments. Please let me know what you think of this movie. Like, I would love to hear your thoughts if you like this movie or not. But anyway, with that being said, that'll be a wrap for this episode. Thank you all for tuning into Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman. Remember to watch movies and stay positive.